In this video, you'll learn to compute one sample t hypothesis test and a one sample t confidence interval with summary data using StatCrunch. This example comes from the book Statistics: Informed Decisions Using Data by Michael Sullivan. A random sample of 22 apple juice bottles from a manufacturer's assembly line was found to have a sample mean of 64.01 ounces of juice and a sample standard deviation of 0.05. The filling machine is not precise, which makes the amount of juice vary from bottle to bottle. Each bottle's label states it contains 64 ounces of apple juice. The manufacturer requires that the mean amount of juice in a bottle be 64.05 ounces to decrease the chance of a bottle being under the 64-ounce threshold by random chance. Given the manufacturer's concern about filling bottles, let's conduct a test to determine if a mean amount per bottle may be less than the target of 64.05 ounces. Let's compute a one sample t hypothesis test. To do so, under the Stat menu, we'll go to T-Stats, One Sample with Summary. The sample mean is 64.01. The sample standard deviation is 0.05. And the sample size is 22. We're going to perform a hypothesis test. The null hypothesis is 64.05. And for this example, the alternative hypothesis will be less than, to test if the mean amount of apple juice in a bottle is actually lower than the 64.05 ounce standard. We'll click Compute. The output table provides the statistics from this test, including the test statistic and the p-value. StatCrunch can also create a confidence interval based on the t distribution. To do so, under Options, we'll choose Edit. This takes us back to the original window where we set up our sample t-test. Instead of choosing to perform a hypothesis test, now we'll choose to perform a confidence interval. By default, StatCrunch uses a value of 0.95, which will produce a 95% confidence interval for the population mean. For this example, I will leave it at 0.95 and click Compute. Now, instead of a p-value and a test statistic, the results show a 95% confidence interval for the mean amount in one of the manufacturer's bottles. L limit represents the lower limit, and U limit represents the upper limit for the confidence interval. StatCrunch can also store these results in a data table. To do so, let's go back under Options, Edit, and under the output, choose Store in Data Table. I'll click Compute, and now the results are stored in new data columns that can be used for future calculations.